Hello everyone, welcome back once again. I am Nicodemus Kane. Today is February the 7th of 2023. I don't have too many current events to talk about unless anybody wants to talk about Turkey. Of course, there was a massive earthquake apparently that I heard. I was thinking about doing the whole earthquakes in diverse places, wars and rumors of wars, the whole thing, because as a watchman you need to talk about these things. And Turkey hasn't had an earthquake that bad since 1939, which I thought was interesting. The one thing that did pop into my head when I heard it was that the first thing I asked was, when was the last time they had a solar eclipse? Because, we've been talking about solar eclipses, and we've been talking about earthquakes that follow solar eclipses. So I went looking, and I found that Turkey had a solar eclipse just last year, October 2022. It said October 25th, 2022. And I'm not saying they're connected, but as we've been going through this and, talking about the grand solar eclipse conjunction that's happening in a couple years, I just thought it was interesting to kind of bring it up, to mention it. But most definitely, we need to pray for everybody that's out there. The number I heard, which was just another interesting number, 2,319 dead so far. Several other little bits of numerology. I'm not going to be one of those that goes through every little tiny bit of numerology about a disaster and just keep going on and on and on about it. Some people do that, and you can get to be very heartless by the end of it. You are focused more on the numbers and focused more on you're focused more on the event and the coincidences surrounding it than you are what happened. And some people get very heartless whenever they start talking about stuff like this. So I'm not going to go too far into it. Just know that when I heard it, it was just one of the things that popped up in my head. The first thing I thought was, well, how long has it been? And then the second thing I thought was, well, when was the last time they had a solar eclipse? Maybe this has something to do with it. Like I said, sure enough, it was 104 days ago. Like I said, in October of 2022. Just interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. Actually, I would also... I wouldn't mind January 21st. I was just looking something up. Nothing important. Nothing major. Alright. Outside of that, nothing much, really. Nothing much that I saw. I kind of kept my head down yesterday, so I didn't really look too far outside in the world other than hearing about this earthquake. It's like I said, I just had to go check that out. Nothing going on around the house. So, you know, not like I really like talking about what's going on around the house or anything. He said, as he thinks back on all those videos where all he ever did was talk about the house. No, other than that, just Jeremiah 39. It's kind of short. And from what I kind of pre-read before I started recording, there's not much to it. Not really. So this is going to be one of those filler videos. You get those. You get filler videos. Not every video is a winner. What was the? I think it was Primus that had the best of. Not everyone can be a zinger. It wasn't a best of. It was like B-sides, I think is what it was. I don't remember. So yeah, not everyone can be a winner. So Jeremiah 39. Let's go ahead and read it. Maybe there will be something that I passed over while I was reading it the first time that might stick out now. Who knows? All right. In the 9th year of Zedekiah, king of Judah, in the 10th month, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and all his army against Jerusalem, and they besieged it. In the 11th year of Zedekiah, in the 4th month, the 9th day of the month, the city was broken up, and all the princes of the king of Babylon came in and sat in the middle gate, even Nergal-Sharezer, Samgarnebo, Sarshichem, Rabsaris, Nergal-Sharezer. Did I just say that? Nergal-Sharezer. Okay. Rabmag, with all the residue of the princes of the king of Babylon. So this is after all the warnings. This is after everything that Jeremiah has. He's warned the princes. He said, if you stand up to these people, they will come in and they will torch this entire city. He said, if you lay down, take the punishment that God told you that you need to take, you will live. But if not, if you fight against them, you will fall, everybody will fall, and the city will burn. Hold on one second. My nose is acting up again today. I woke up last night and I found out that I'd kicked all my blankets off of me. And I was cold. I was absolutely cold. That's probably why I'm waking up today feeling like crap. I do that. It's, you kick your blankets off you. Some people do it, some people don't. We don't keep heavy blankets anymore. We used to. And, usually when I have a heavy blanket on me, it will keep me down. It'll keep me from kicking it off, but we don't have heavy blankets anymore, so I usually kick the light stuff off. I wind up getting sick. It's a problem, I know. So starting back up at the top, in the 9th year of Zedekiah, king of Judah, in the 10th month came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and all his army against Jerusalem, and they besieged it, just like Jeremiah kept saying will happen. And in the 11th year of Zedekiah, in the 4th month, the 9th year of the month, the city was broken up. So, in the 9th year of Zedekiah, Nebuchadnezzar came up against the city. In the 11th year, so this is a 2-year war. In the 4th month and the 9th year, the city was broken up. So 2 years. the king of Babylon finally was able to break the city up. And all the princes of the king of Babylon came in and sat in the middle gate. Even Nergal-Sharezer. Okay, let's look these words up, or look these names up, because it's always interesting to read these names. Nergal-Sharezer, which is a prince of fire. There you go. Sam Garnebo is the sword of Nebo. Sarshechem is the prince of the eunuchs. Rabsaris, who does not have a meaning for his name. It's just a foreign word for eunuch. Okay. But then it says Nergal-Sharezer again. That's weird. Rabmag. It's a foreign word for a Magian, chief, Magian, soothsayer, magician, with all the residue of the princes of the king of Babylon. Okay. So it took them 2 years to completely break the city down, and then all these guys came in. All these princes of the king of Babylon came in. So verse 4, and it came to pass that when Zedekiah the king of Judah saw them, and all the men of war, then they fled, and went forth out of the city by night, by the way of the king's garden, by the gate betwixt the two walls, and he went out the way of the plain. But the Chaldeans' army pursued after them, and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho. And when they had taken him, they brought him up to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, to Riblah in the land of Hamath, where he gave judgment upon him. Then the king of Babylon slew the sons of Zedekiah in Riblah, and before his eyes. Also the king of Babylon slew all the nobles of Judah. Moreover, he put out Zedekiah's eyes, and bound him with chains to carry him to Babylon. He put out his eyes. Wow. So going back up to 4. And it came to pass that when Zedekiah the king of Judah saw them, and all the men of war, then they fled, and went forth out of the city by night, by the way of the king's garden, by the gate betwixt the two walls, and he went out the way of the plain. So remember it said, when the king of Babylon comes and takes the city, if you try to fight, if you try to run, if you try to do anything other than just be taken captive, you will fall. You will perish. But if you are taken, you will live. You will live, your kids will live, your grandchildren will live, and by then, I will bring your people back to this place. That's what God kept saying through Jeremiah to the king. But of course, they didn't listen. They locked him up. They put him in prison. The princes wanted to put Jeremiah to death. I mean, it was just some guy, started out as some kid. And Jeremiah, his entire life, was told over and over again, tell them this is what's coming. Tell them to quit doing all these things. Remember the first 10, 12 chapters of this book, all it kept saying was, don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. And I made such a fuss about making sure to say everything they are doing corresponds in some small way to things that we do now that we just call harmless. Oh, it's just harmless. Oh, it's okay. One of the biggest takeaways from this whole thing is that he warned, don't do these things. Then he said, because you want to do these things, I will bring this down upon this city. And then he said, I'm going to bring these things down upon this city. Don't fight back, or else you will perish. And then he started saying, if you don't fight back, if you just be taken captive, I will bring you back. God keeps giving them outs. He keeps giving his people outs, the way to survive whatever he's doing. Stop what you're doing. Stop doing the nonsense. It's not that hard. It's not that hard of a way to just stop doing this evil. But you're going to persist on doing it. You're going to not listen to my messenger, which I sent to you. Which there are thousands of messengers right now that are doing their best to try to get people to listen, but nobody wants to listen. And you constantly want to lock them up. You constantly want to shut them down. You constantly want to say that they are not, because they are not learned enough, because they are not experienced enough, they are not well known enough, that they cannot be preaching the Word of God. That's what you think. So because you will not listen to the person that I sent to tell you to quit doing this evil, then I will send an army against you. But I'll give you an out then too. If you just surrender when they come, I will keep you alive. I will keep you alive, and you will have generations behind you that will come back into this land and occupy it again. Your children will want to come back to me because they will not want to live in captivity of the Babylons or the Babylonians. It's always an out. He always gives us an option. It's what it's always been. He even if 10 people, if he could find 10 righteous people in Sodom, think about that for a second. Now, I've talked about all the stories outside of the Bible that talk about how bad Sodom and Gomorrah was. Even the stories in the Bible of Sodom and Gomorrah tell you how bad it was. But the stories outside of Sodom and Gomorrah just make that place 5 times worse. Even if you could just find 10 righteous people in the city, he would have saved the whole city. He couldn't find 10, of course. He could barely find 1. It is what it is. So I love the guys that say he only found 4. It's like, how do you know he only found 4? The last time I checked, on the way out, one of them turned around because she didn't want to leave the city. She got turned to a pillar of salt. The other 2 raped their father. I mean, you're going to call that righteous, really? And Lot's children that he sired through his daughters turned out to be cursed in the end. They went up north just like everybody else, and they became cursed. You're gonna say that that's righteousness? Seriously? The angels came for Lot. Lot asked for his daughters to come with him. There was not 4 righteous in the whole city. There was barely 1. I don't know how righteous Lot was anyways. Abraham wanted his what was it? It wasn't his brother. Was it his nephew? I think it was his nephew. It was a nephew or cousin. I can't remember how they were related. But he wanted his family to be saved. All it would have taken was 10 people to save the city. 10 people. I barely even know 10 people anymore. I have no friends. I have no friends anymore. We were just talking about this the other day about how little we actually get out anymore because I just don't know anybody. But there's always an out. There's always a way out. And then he says, when I bring this pain and destruction and misery upon you, you still have a way to survive this. God always gives you options. Where were we at? Verse 5? But the Chaldeans' army pursued after them, and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho. And when they had taken him, they brought him up to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, to Riblah in the hand of Hamath, where he gave judgment upon him. Then the king of Babylon slew the sons of Wow. Okay, let's try that one again. Nice and slow. Then the king of Babylon slew the sons of Zedekiah in Riblah before his eyes. Also the king of Babylon slew all the nobles of Judah, killed everybody right in front of Zedekiah before they plucked his eyes out. Moreover, he put out Zedekiah's eyes and bound him with chains to carry him to Babylon, which is exactly what God said. It said, I will bring destruction upon everything. And I will have the king of Babylon take you into captivity. It's not, you will not go into captivity. You will be taken. They fled and were overtaken. Then all of his sons were killed. Whole family lineage gone. And then all the nobles of Judah killed. All those nobles of Judah that did their best to tell the king that they wanted Jeremiah to be put to death. Killing the messenger for the message. God told them. God warned them too. Verse 8. And the Chaldeans burned the king's house and the houses of the people with fire, and break down the walls of Jerusalem. Then Nebuzaradan, okay. Then Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried away captive into Babylon the remnant of the people that remained in the city, and those that fell away, that fell to him, with the rest of the people that remained. But Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, left of the poor of the people, which had nothing, in the land of Judah, and gave them vineyards and fields at the same time. That's interesting stuff right there. Let's go back up to the top, and go back up to verse 8. And the Chaldeans burned the king's house and the houses of the people with fire, and break down the walls of Jerusalem. Then Nebuzaradan, Nebo has given seed. A general Nebuchadnezzar's army at the capture of Jerusalem. It's just the Babylonian guard. There's nothing else, or Babylonian general. There's nothing else on him. Huh. Alright. Had to cough up a little bit. I took some NyQuil last night. So I guess it's like NyQuil headache, or NyQuil hangover. And that might be why my nose is a little stuffed up too. Because I wanted to see if I could kick the rest of this out of my system. Because, it's starting to get on my nerves. That might be one of the reasons. But then Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried away captive into Babylon the remnant of the people that remained in the city, and those that fell away, that fell to him, with the rest of the people that remained. Which is what God said, is that your people will be taken captive. If you let them take you captive, you will survive in the land of Babylon. But you're going to have to sit there and suffer for, what did it say, 70 years? But Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, left of the poor of the people, which had nothing in the land of Judah, and gave them vineyards and fields at the same time. Now I have said somewhere before that they didn't outright slaughter everyone. They left the people there. Now they they did make decrees. Now we see this in Daniel, where the Babylonians forced the people to, do the unclean animal sacrifices, eat the unclean meat, do all the stuff that they say not to do. But at the same time, the Babylonians aren't like absolutely tyrannical about it. It seems like they let them get away with a lot. That they at least keep the priests there. They let them keep preaching the word. They don't totally get rid of religion either. It's almost as if, I almost want to say it's like the Romans. They let them keep a certain amount of their lifestyle there. They just want to take them over. They don't want to like completely and totally change everything. This isn't like it's a complete lifestyle change. They let them keep just enough, but they want them to know that they're the ones in charge. So maybe, I want to say it's extremely similar to how I think the land of America was founded. I want to say it's very similar to that. Because, we've gone on about who the founding fathers actually were, how this actually worked, if indeed it was people that were here that were being oppressed by British rule, if they didn't rise up and create a new nation, or it was the British coming over to America and taking over, but keeping all of the concepts of the government in place, just changing it slightly to fit their needs. Because the best way to take over a people is to make them think they haven't been taken over at all. It should just keep life going on as it's always gone. You just change the rulers out so the people don't know. You make small, tiny changes in the rules slowly to get them manipulated to that point. Now I don't know. Now this is all speculation. It's all been speculation to me, but it's as we've gone on with trying to decide what America actually is and how this place was actually founded and who actually founded it. Because there's so many people that say, well, America was based on Christian values, and look at this society that they made and all this stuff, and you find out that the founding fathers, unless it was real, they weren't the people that we think they were. There was something else more sinister going on here. And if that's true, then why did they create a government where they have less power? Why would the Freemasons put a president in charge of a country where he asks for less power? It doesn't make sense in a real world application. What makes sense is that they took it over. They limited their power so that they would think that the people that were coming in were just and upright. It's a trick. It's a lie. It's either that or none of it's real. That it got taken over, that the founding fathers were invented and made up, and by 1812, when the British came back to supposedly raid everything again, that's when they came back in, and that's when they started instilling all these things. You have to remember that education system didn't really start until the 1890s. Didn't really, become what it is until the 1890s, 1880s, 1890s, somewhere around there. It didn't become standardized. And when it became standardized, that's whenever they started saying, started making up whatever the hell they wanted to. I'm sure they could have done it before that. I'm sure there's books out there that are probably from the 1850s that everybody's like, oh, well, this says the Founding Fathers and all that. Okay, well, that's fine. They could have made it up before then, too. I'd like to see a book from the 1700s, from the 1790s. That would say something about that. I'm sure they're probably out there, too, but was it made up? Can you even trust the dates on the books? We don't even know. See, it's hard to speculate. I'm just saying that the what we were told doesn't match up with what we find. So there's something else going on there. Why would a government that wants total power create a government that does not give the government total power? It doesn't make any sense. It's the same as saying, why would a Bible that was supposedly written by man constantly talk about going against the rules and laws of man? It doesn't make any sense. Anyways, but no, the Babylonians, I've said this before, is that it seems like they let the people keep their religion. They let the people keep some semblance of culture. Apparently, they let all the poor people run the vineyards and the fields. That's a good way to get people on your side, especially the poor people. Poor people, if they, the people that have absolutely nothing. If somebody comes in and, takes away all the people that have all the stuff, and then tells all the poor people, you can have this now, but you work for us. You think that the poor people are going to rebel against that? Hell no, they're not going to rebel against that. These people had nothing. The Babylonians gave them something. Said, you had nothing before this. Now you get to run the vineyards. All you have to do is just follow our rule. That's a hell of a deal to those people. Maybe that's exactly what happened. I don't know. Maybe that's exactly what happened here to America. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know. You added all the other fun stuff that people have been talking about, the orphan trains and the Great Reset, of the 1800s, or, I'm not going to get into Tartaria or mud floods or anything, but something changed in the 1800s. I don't know what. I don't want to speculate what. Everybody likes to say it was one thing or another, but something happened. Something changed. And something changed on such a base level that all history started, at least from our understanding. Most, if not all, history started in the 1800s, about the 1850s, 1840s, give or take. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it could be at all. A lot of people are starting to disagree that, nothing happened in the 1800s. Well, we've been talking about this for so long, and now people are changing their minds. It's like, no, something happened. Something was there. It was a very weird time frame. Something was going on. I don't know. I don't have enough research, knowledge, and experience to say what it was, but I do see enough of it to understand that something big happened. So I don't know, but that it seems like there's a relation between the two. Just kind of makes kind of sense. I don't know. America's Babylon. Anyways, verse 11. Now Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon. Did we just go from Nebuchadnezzar to Nebuchadrezzar? Yeah, we did. Okay. The same guy, just different name. Now Nebuchadrezzar, king of Babylon, gave charge concerning Jeremiah to Nebuzar Aden, captain of the guard, saying, Take him, and look well to him, and do him no harm, but do unto him even as he shall say unto thee. So Nebuzar Aden, the captain of the guard, sent, and Nebuchadnezzar and Nebuchadnezzar, Rabsaris, and Nergal-Sharezer, Rabmag, and all the kings of Babylon's princes. Even they sent, and took Jeremiah out of the court of the prison, and committed him unto Gedaliah, the son of Ahikam, come on now, the son of Shaphan, that he should carry him home. So he dwelt among the people. So they let Jeremiah loose. Again, Jeremiah was a prophet that the people of Judah and Jerusalem would not listen to. Yet Nebuchadnezzar comes in and lets him go, lets him walk freely. Maybe God told him to do it. I don't know. Something else going on there. I don't know. Let's go back up to 11. Now Nebuchadrezzar, king of Babylon, gave charge concerning Jeremiah to Nebuzar Aden, the captain of the guard, saying, Take him and look well to him, and do him no harm, but do unto him even as he shall say unto thee. Okay. It is one of those things. Utterly interesting and amazing things that the bad guys will listen to a prophet of God more than the supposed good guys. You know, the people of Jerusalem, which were God's chosen people, would not listen to Jeremiah. Yet the Babylonians, the ones that they were always warned about, came in, and the first thing they said was, take that guy, the prophet that told these people what was coming, take him and give him whatever he tells you to give him, whatever he says unto you. That's crazy talk. You know, again, from a modern perspective, it's you take away all of these things from the people. You know, from a modern perspective, is that you are, when a conquering army comes in, they are ruthless, and you know they take away every aspect of who you were, and you know you get down to a point where you have nothing, and your spirit is broken. Nebuchadnezzar comes in, and he lets them have everything. He lets them keep it. He lets the poor run the fields. He lets them keep their religion. He lets them keep whatever it is that they have. I mean, even Daniel to a point. I mean, I know that eventually it says, you know, the king of Babylon says everybody will kneel down to this god. Yeah, eventually, yes, there is a point where, you know, the Babylonians basically say, okay, now you're going to start listening to us. But when they came in, they let them keep it. It was a slow burn. You know, you get to keep everything for now, but slowly but surely, you're going to follow our ways. That's the way to conquer people. You don't immediately change it. You slowly but surely subvert everything about them. You want me to be honest with you? That's been America for the past 80 years. That's an absolute fact. That has been the United States of America for the past 80 years. Some conquering army moved into America. The world, actually, you want to be honest. Some conquering army moved into the world about 80 years ago and has slowly but surely been subverting, changing the rules, manipulating, keeping what was there but slowly twisting it, slowly and slightly twisting it. You have KGB guys, ex-KGB agents that have come into America and have said this kind of stuff. This is how the Russian communists subvert other cultures, other countries. This is how they do it. Who are Russian communists? There are certain people. Communism was started by certain people. They wear certain size hats, a little bit smaller than everybody else's. It's been about 80 years. You can do the math. You can figure out what's going on here. But take him and look well to him, and do him no harm, but do unto him even as he shall say unto thee. Think about that for a second. It just blows my mind. So verse 13, so Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, sent, and Nebuchadnezzar, that's what it is, Nebuchadnezzar, Rabsaris, and Nergal-Sharezer, Rabmag, and all the king of Babylon's princes. Even they sent and took Jeremiah out of the court of the prison, and committed him unto Gedaliah the son of Ahikam. Gedaliah the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, that he should carry him home, so he dwelt among the people. Which still, a prophet of God, and they let him loose. They let him loose so that he could be among the people. And from a modern perspective, that just sounds crazy. You know, like you are supposed to break their spirits completely. You know, to take everything away from them, to lock them up into prisons, to lock them up into working camps, feed them gruel and give them the worst living conditions possible. Although I don't think that's the way it goes at all. I think that's the way that we're taught. I don't think that's the way that it is. I really don't. I think that whenever certain countries conquered other countries, or conquered other peoples and threw them into internment camps, that I don't think it was, you know, you're going to lose everything, that you can't practice your religion, that you can't, you know, have any fun whatsoever. You can't do anything but sit here and be miserable and starve to death, and, you know, we're going to do horrible, terrible things to you. No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. That's how you create uprisings. You have to remember, you have to keep the inmates pleased, or they will rebel. You cannot have a prison where you have 20 guards watching over 200 men or 200 people and expect that to work if you can't, you know, placate the people. You have to keep them entertained. It's the same as any other country right now. You know, we all live in open air prisons at this point. And it would be very easy for everybody to turn against our rulers if our rulers just suddenly, out of the blue, said, okay, you don't get to do this. Okay, you don't get to do that. We're going to take away all these things from you. Of course, then again, I say that, and all I have to do is look at the past 2 years, almost 3 years now, and see that everybody just rolled over and played dead. Oh, we're going to shut you down. We're going to take away your businesses. We're going to take away your entire lives. And nobody blinked. And that's brainwashing. That's something that they did not have back in these days of Babylon taking over Jerusalem. They didn't have the absolute brainwashing that they have now. You know, the mind control, the constant fear porn pouring over the TVs. You know, they didn't have the constant streaming service in your hand of fear. You could die tomorrow by going outside. They didn't have that. This would have been a completely different place if they would have had that. Verse 15. Now the word of the Lord came unto Jeremiah, while he was shut up in the court of the prison, saying, Go and speak to Ebed-melech the Ethiopian, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I will bring my words upon this city for evil, and not for good, and they shall be accomplished in that day before thee. But I will deliver thee in that day, saith the Lord, and thou shalt not be given into the hand of the men of whom thou art afraid. For I will surely deliver thee, and thou shalt not fall by the sword, but thy life shall be for prey unto thee, because thou hast put thy trust in me, saith the Lord. So after all of this, back up to 15. Now the word of the Lord came unto Jeremiah, while he was shut up in the court of the prison, saying, this is before they let him loose, saying, Go and speak to Ebed-melech the Ethiopian, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I will bring my words upon this city for evil, and not for good, and they shall be accomplished in that day before thee. But I will deliver thee in that day, saith the Lord, and thou shalt not be given into the hand of the men of whom thou art afraid. I will not give you over to those people. You will be in captivity, but I will not give them over to you, or give you over to them. Sorry. For I will surely deliver thee, and thou shalt not fall by the sword, but thy life shall be for a prey unto thee, because thou hast put thy trust in me, saith the Lord. So again, for the people that actually listened to Jeremiah, for whenever God said, you know, I'm sending this to you, because the whole city didn't want to listen to me, didn't want to trust me. Some of you did. Those people that are going to listen to me, you have let yourself be taken captive. You will be taken captive, and you will survive this, and I will bring you back. Remember, I said, pray to the Father, ask him what he wants you to do. If he wants you to fight back against this system, or if he wants you to run away. Because there's a lot of people out there right now that are doing their damnedest to tell you, just go with the flow. Go along with everybody else. Somebody tells you to take some shot or something, take it. Somebody tells you to take some microchip, take it. To be subjected to your rulers. And yet, your book of Revelation says there will be those that will be standing there, that will be killed because they did not take the mark. They will be saved because they did not take the mark. That means that there will be a rebellion. There will not be a rolling over and playing dead. Yes, there are going to be those that are going to roll over and play dead. And I'm sure they're going to unfortunately get what they deserve. But it also says there will be those that will flee to the hills. There will be those that will be fighting back against it. There will be those that will not listen to their rulers. In the end, I'm not going to tell anyone to take up arms. Go load your guns. Go raid the government. Although, if you believe your own history, if there really are founding fathers, they would have been doing it way before now. No, I'm not going to say that. What I am going to say is that we should be speaking up as much as possible against the evils of this world. The wickedness, the darkness. There's a lot of people that are catching on. I didn't want to go into this whole thing about the Grammys, but apparently enough people saw this satanic ritual that they performed at the Grammys, and everybody's like, "What is this?" It's like, man, that's been there for years. Are you just now noticing? That's been there for years. I don't even know who the people were that were doing it. It doesn't even matter to me. I keep seeing the pictures now, and I'm like, yeah, well, this is what you want. This is what you get. But we should be speaking up against this. You know, if you're going to follow in the footsteps of Christ, what did Christ do? Christ went and got right up in their faces. Called the leaders of the temples hypocrites right to their faces. He went out into the places, into the open, and spoke the true word of God. Did not care what they thought. When they tried to come get him, what did he do? He found a way to get away. It was not his time to be taken. Man, I've seen people go out and stand and speak the word of God and get arrested right on the spot. And I'm like, were you supposed to be arrested right on the spot? Were you supposed to go away when the police came? What did God need you to do right there? I just some people are so how do I want to put this? They're so enamored with the idea of being martyred for speaking God's word that they will go out and they will yell it to the world and cause a scene and create a disturbance and will let whatever happens happen and won't even try to fight back. Won't even try to escape it. And they'll be taken to jail. They'll be cited. They'll be charged, whatever. And they'll come back and they'll do it again. And, you know, it'll happen over and over. Never once thinking that maybe that's not the way. You speak the word. But maybe you're not supposed to be taken into jail. You're not supposed to just roll over. So, I only say that because many times in the book we read it. Even Jeremiah, to a point, had to flee from the people that were, trying to get to him. Christ, several times, while the Pharisees and the Sadducees were trying to get to him, was able to get away through the crowd. He wasn't taken right then. It wasn't his time. If it's not your time, don't let them take you. But keep fighting, always. Keep speaking up. Keep speaking the truth. More than anything, do what God tells you. Ask him what you need to do. Ask him, ask the Father what he needs you to do. But for crying out loud, don't just sit on your hands. There are so many people that I know have that power of prayer, that power of righteousness, that, what do you want to call it, that power of God, that I know that if they would just get up and go outside and fight, not physically, but spiritually, they could do some real spiritual damage. Not damage as in, doing bad against God, but doing good, doing righteousness. But so many just want to sit there and they just want to wait. If that's what God's calling them to do, then hey, that's what God is calling you to do. But man, some people, you just know they could be doing something else. And they trick other people into doing it too. That's the thing about it is they will go out and they will say, all you got to do is wait. All you got to do is wait. God is coming soon. Just sit tight. Just wait, stay calm and wait for the rapture. It's like, don't tell other people what to do. Tell them to ask God what to do, because maybe God has something different in mind for them. Just because God told you to sit on your hands and do nothing, okay, that's fine, but don't you go out there and tell somebody who we know could very well have the power to tip some scales. Don't tell them to sit around and do nothing. That's the worst. That's the absolute worst. Because they might have the power, very easily have the power to tip some scales. But they're being told by their preachers, by their influencers, by their YouTube people, God's coming soon, just sit and wait. I'm sure there are people listening to this that know those kinds of people. That they have some kind of energy in them that all they have to do is just go out and just speak the words and things will change. But enough about that. I am going to get out of here. Get out of here and get ready for work. So God bless all of you. Take care of yourselves. Yeah, that's all I got, really. Take care of yourselves. God bless everyone.